Most people believe they are thinking. They are not. What most people are doing is feeling, and then constructing a thought that justifies the feeling after the fact. The thinking comes second, the feeling comes first, and the feeling almost always wins. This is not an insult. It is neuroscience, and understanding it is the first step toward actually changing it. The human brain did not evolve to think clearly. It evolved to survive. Survival in the ancient world did not require careful logical analysis. It required fast reactions, pattern recognition, and tribal loyalty. The brain that stopped to carefully evaluate every threat did not survive long enough to pass on its genes. That brain is the one you are using right now, in a world that has changed beyond recognition, with problems that require nuance, patience, and a willingness to be wrong, but with hardware wired for speed, certainty, and belonging. So what specifically gets in the way of clear thinking? The first barrier is emotional reasoning, the tendency to treat how you feel about something as evidence that it is true. Psychologist Aaron Beck, the founder of cognitive behavioral therapy, identified emotional reasoning as one of the core distortions that leads to flawed thinking. The problem is not that you have emotions. The problem is mistaking emotions for data. The second barrier is tribal thinking. For most of our evolutionary history, belonging to the group was literally a matter of life and death. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman found that social pain, the pain of rejection, activates the same brain regions as physical pain. This means holding a belief your tribe rejects does not just feel uncomfortable. It feels physically threatening. And so people unconsciously adopt the beliefs of those around them, not because they evaluated the evidence, but because the alternative feels dangerous. The third barrier is cognitive overload. The modern world produces more information in a single day than a person in the Middle Ages encountered in an entire lifetime. When overwhelmed, you do not think more carefully. You think less carefully. You look for simple explanations and familiar patterns, which is exactly what politicians, advertisers, and manipulators of all kinds are counting on. The fourth barrier is the illusion of understanding. Psychologists Rozenblit and Keil identified what they called the illusion of explanatory depth, the tendency to believe you understand things far more deeply than you actually do. We mistake familiarity with understanding. We mistake having heard something with actually knowing it. The fifth barrier is confirmation bias. Once you believe something, your brain automatically filters incoming information to support it. Evidence that confirms the belief gets amplified. Evidence that challenges it gets dismissed. The more confident you are about something, the less likely you are to genuinely examine it. So how do you fix this? First, slow down deliberately. Fast thinking feels confident, but it is less accurate. When something feels obviously true, that feeling is precisely the signal to slow down rather than act. Certainty is not a sign of accuracy. It is often a sign the emotional brain has taken over. Second, actively seek disconfirmation. Instead of looking for evidence that you are right, look for the strongest evidence that you might be wrong. This is what scientists call falsifiability, the single most powerful cognitive habit available. Third, separate the source from the argument. A good argument from someone you dislike is still a good argument. A bad argument from someone you admire is still a bad argument. Train yourself to evaluate reasoning independently of who is making it. Fourth, increase your tolerance for uncertainty. The brain will accept a wrong answer before it accepts no answer. Developing the capacity to sit with open questions, to say, "I do not know yet," and genuinely mean it, is perhaps the rarest and most valuable cognitive skill a person can develop. Philosopher Bertrand Russell wrote that the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves and wiser people so full of doubts. The goal is not to eliminate doubt. The goal is to use it well. Most people believe they are thinking. Now you know what is actually happening. And more importantly, you know what to do instead.